Welcome to Botches Off-Road. Join us as we talk about everything from gear reviews to trail stories, tent camping to rock landing, and all things to do with the outdoors. Today is just going to be Mark, Alex, and I, and we're just going to do a quick little post-yearly camp trip episode. We did a little mini-sode before about what we were planning on doing, the trails that we were going to do, and now we're just going to tell everyone how it went, who broke, who didn't break, and I can already see Mark on our cam.
Poor Mark.
He just, you can just see he's getting ready to start crying. But no, so we ended up going with Alex's family and my family coming up to Yuma area, and we started scouting out some trails earlier Thursday, and we found a campsite pretty far back into the trails, and it wasn't bad, right? I mean,
I love the campsite. We saw one person the entire trip.
Yeah,
one person.
Heard some crazy owls.
I did end up finding a tick on Mercy though. So,
oh, did you?
Yeah.
I haven't checked myself yet. I probably
I'm
should.
about to say it's probably a very late season one.
Yeah. She got lucky though, just the one.
And you know how she is. She was out in all that tall shit, messing around the whole time. So,
yeah, she was.
Her and Wrangler were running around. They really
Mercy,
liked having the big open field to run around in too.
They have that at home though, so
that's true.
But for anyone who doesn't know, Mercy and Wrangler are my dogs. They're not kids.
No. Close, but no.
Close.
All right. Well, so we got into camp. We set up. We waited for Mark to show up. We set up camp. Had some really what do we have for dinner that night? Grilled cheese or hot dogs? Yeah, hot dogs.
Mix of both. I think we made both.
I think we had grilled cheese for lunch. Hot dogs for other way around. Hot dogs for lunch. Grilled cheese for dinner.
On homemade bread.
On homemade bread. That was good. Cooked that up. Yep. Spent the night in the tent. It got down to early 30s in temperature, and everybody was kind of like, okay. It's kind of fucking cold.
I don't know, man. I was pretty comfy in my mummy bag.
Yeah, I'm sure you were. We were a little cold in our tent. Like the bags ourselves keep us warm, but it's our faces that weren't. And I don't like being suffocated. I don't like feeling suffocated, so I don't like having shit over my face. So I like. We thought maybe we might need to get a heater. So we used Alex's heater the first night after a while, and that helped a lot. So we were like, okay, we're definitely going to need a heater the second night. So that was our main issue in my family, was just trying to keep we're all sick, so trying to keep any more cold, crisp air out of our freaking lungs while we're trying to sleep is only making things worse. Mark, how was your first night?
Looked pretty good. Army sleeping bag win for me. I kept nice and cuddled.
Didn't have any issues of being too cold or anything.
Yeah, it was like $150. Yeah, it kept me nice and warm. The only time was a couple times I found myself popped out because it was just apparently I popped myself out of the sleeping bag in the middle of the night. But
yeah,
other than that, it kept me warm. I felt bad for my brother though. He bought
Mark,
a cheap.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mark, yeah. Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, go ahead and explain what happened there. Alan didn't have the best night comparatively.
No, he bought a cot thinking it was the same one that Alex has that I used that night or nights. Barely probably slept on it for good 15 minutes and it fucking collapsed on him. Just full on collapsed.
Yeah. Alan said he woke up wondering why it felt like he was sloped a little bit. And laying on the ground. Yeah. So yeah, first night, Alan had some issues. Mark slept comfortably. Alex, how did you and your wife sleep?
Once Kaylin figured out how to get into the Army sleeping bag, she slept
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. And then the dogs are good.
The first couple nights, yes, for sure.
And then and then we I think we got up in the morning. What did we have for breakfast? We had eggs and chorizo, or we had pancakes.
We had pancakes.
Pancakes.
Some pancakes and spam, some eggs.
Yep. Spam was really good.
Yeah. It's good to hear, man. I was worried that you guys wouldn't like my cooked spam.
Yeah, he paid big money on that meal,
Actually, the spam's like $5 a can, bro. It ain't as cheap as it used to be.
Jesus, dude. When I think of spam, I think of like $1 a can.
No, that's like $5 for a can now.
Ouch.
Yep. I blame 50 First Dates and Adam Sandler. those guys always trying to promote spam and some Reese's, man. But no, it was really good. We get the low sodium stuff because it's just too salty if it's original. Then we got all packed up and we went and did some trails. Alex, what trails did we do? I mean, we went and did some of the lower ones, right?
Yeah, so the first trail we did was 7101. That's that one that Onyx doesn't have marked the whole thing. They only have a partial of it marked.
Yeah.
But that trail, it links up, I think it was 7510 is where it ends up linking to. I don't remember exactly. Hold up. Actually,
7510, 7520, something like that.
Maybe it links up with 7509, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
But that trail is fantastic. It's lots of hills, not so much hill climbs, just sloping hills with big, beautiful tree views.
Yeah.
Definitely a trail I think anyone should go down.
Yeah. Unrated, but if you're using Onyx's rating system and you're not using your experience from Arizona or anything, where are you rating it?
Like a 2.
2. Cool. Yep, I could agree to that. It'd be a good 2.
Yep.
Nothing crazy. Any car could basically do it. And then we moved up to 75-15 and 50-32. How do we like those ones? I think those. I think there was only 1 or 2 parts where I would say made it a blue trail, and otherwise they were green trails. They were 1s or 2s, other than certain obstacles.
So 75-15 has that really gnarly off camber right at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
That's that spot where I'd say that particular spot is like a 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
But then 50-32, that is like a 2 out of 10.
That was the one. That was the one that we were like, why is this even blue?
No, that was the 37.
Yeah, you're right.
That was 37.
But
yeah,
no,
which
50-32, I could see in springtime maybe when there's water on it, it might have some puddles, but for us it was dry. It was easy.
Yeah, it was dusty this weekend.
It was very dusty.
We didn't end up getting rain till like the last day. We had some sprinkles here and there, but nothing crazy. We did those 2. We took it pretty easy. We did 75-16, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or no, maybe we did that during our scouting trip.
That might have been.
Yeah, we did 75-16 on the scouting trip.
I think
I know
after 75-15, I think we cut down to 75-20 and took that across the harder stuff.
Yeah, we did the Cabernet Lookout 75-20. Honestly, just this time of the year, it's hard to find a trail that you don't enjoy driving. Yeah, I mean, they're so pretty. I mean, challenging, not really, but I mean, they were all gorgeous to look at. And I think after we did those, we pretty much wrapped it up for the day. Do we do Fine Line? I think we did.
We did. We did Fine Line and 37 Trail before we wrapped it up.
Yeah. And how do we
So-
like those?
I'll let Mark tell about the fine line because that's where he got himself a little turtled.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun experience because I was trying to do it because I came in when we did it the first time. I came in, did the off-cambering stuff straight on with no issues. And then the second time coming back, I couldn't do the same thing I did last time. Like, what the hell? I was just a quick divot from left to right. I didn't want to go up and over it, so I had to go around it. That was so weird.
Yeah, you started to have a little issues there towards the end.
Yeah.
To be fair, he wasn't turtled. It just I thought he was when I came up on it, but then he was able to
I don't know, maybe some foreshadowing there because we got back to camp after doing those, and what happened then, Mark?
Well, I'm not sure it was from the original trip or me going out and grabbing firewood. But originally, the whole thing was I was trying to figure out why my power steering fluid was low because it was low halfway through the trip and I filled it. And I grabbed something that would seal it in case it was a leak somewhere, thinking it might have been a simple seal leak. So I discovered that the rack pinion was leaking down to my boot on my passenger side for my tie rod. So we proceeded to trying to figure out how to tear it down. And Alex told me, "Hey, we got something else going on. That's a major issue for us to finish this weekend off with." I'm like, "Okay, what's more major than the rack pinion?" He's like, "Well, come look." I came over and my CV axle, my outer CV axle boot was torn. I'm like, yeah, that would end that weekend quicker than the rack pinion would.
Yeah, not torn, like ripped a little bit, like
it's full on ripped around.
Yeah, clean ripped off.
Absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I was kind of bombing down that trail where the wood was on. Cause it was the first trail we hit earlier that day, so I kind of knew it. So I kind of bombed it. I was doing 20, but I didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, there were some big bumps in there. So yeah, that probably is what did it. But we got that. We made some calls. We got the CV axle. And what, you guys did that night, right?
No, we did the next day.
Yeah, they decided they were going to pause it and then do it in the morning. So we took a full day and just kind of a repair day, work on stuff, and I kind of cleaned up my wiring. I had some issues with my Anderson connector in the front, and I got that kind of taken care of mostly that night, and then into the next day, got my stuff rewired and figured out. And then Mark, he figured out the whole CV thing. Thankfully, had a tire underneath his truck because the jack kind of gave way, and thankfully we were on very soft ground. We had the tire under there that we could just kind of
always put a tire under the frame when you're lifting a truck.
Yep, especially when you're in these off-road, off-camber, soft ground conditions. Jacks are cool and all, but the ground's not stable. And if you're working on a long period and you don't have jack stands, which maybe we should have had some, but it's not a typical thing that a lot of people carry with them usually. But yeah, I mean, tire was there, tires saved it. Or we would have been digging a hole, jacking that up.
Yes.
So we got the CV put in, and then we were good for Sunday. And
well, first I had to ditch my sway bar.
Oh yeah, fuck! I forgot you did that too. So yeah, that was just a mod day in general. I mean, yeah. Alex ditched his sway bar, cut that right off.
So I am now running no sway bars front or rear, and it is something on the road, but it works great on the trail.
Yeah, we proved that the next day. Yeah, we I think it was, I don't know what trail was that we had that really gnarly off camber. It wasn't even a Mark trail. It was it
was marked like the trail itself was marked, but Onyx doesn't have it on there at all.
Yeah. No. It was off of 7533 in between 7533 and Yuma. hills, 5738. There's a trail that cuts in between the two. And there's a really nice off-camber situation there. And
Oh yeah,
we did
really
that a
nice.
little bit later. That was later in the day when we were just exploring, but that one was really cool. The only person that could get up there was Alex because of mostly because of the sway bars, but
I don't know, man. I also wasn't getting hung up. Mark's a little bit longer wheelbase, so he was
that's
getting hung
true.
up sooner than
Yeah.
I was.
I think I just seeing the articulation you got out of that, especially from the rear, how that looked, definitely seemed to help quite a bit.
Yeah, it definitely did.
But yeah, he got through that. Mark gave it a valiant effort.
I give very valid effort.
Yep, he tried, but no, he couldn't get through. And I made that decision not to even try.
I bet you could have done it.
I might, you know what? I might have, but
hit your rear locker, put it in 4 low. You would have just crawled right up it, man.
Maybe. I didn't like how it was off camber at the same time. If it was like a ledge to climb, that'd be one thing. I didn't like how it was really off camber too. It pushed you to the right. And judging by how yours, you kind of, it looked like you almost got your like rear tail light on the dirt there. It pushed you so far over.
I'm
kind of glad I didn't. Yeah, kind of glad I didn't because I think I'm just a tad bit wider than you, and I don't think I would have had that same issue. I think I would have grabbed some ground.
Yeah. But no, it was a cool spot. I think that was probably my favorite obstacle of the entire trip.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was cool. But we did all Yuma. We did Yuma a couple of the parts of Yuma multiple times.
Yes.
Just going back and forth, backtracking, looking for other trails. And what's everyone's overall opinion on Yuma? The whole thing. I mean, Mark, what do you think? What are you grading it on an Onyx scale? Just based off of your experience.
Mine, I would say it would be a 3. I wouldn't lower it too much because it did have some of the challenging stuff, but like I said, that unmarked trail that we wasn't marked on Onyx was definitely probably the most challenging part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of rubbing one of the other articulating spots, but other than that, didn't seem difficult to me compared to Marblehead and stuff.
No. I would say there was 2 or 3 spots where we put it into 4-wheel drive, and then the rest of the trail was 2-wheel. So I don't think. I think I'm with you there. I think I would give it like a 3.
Yeah.
Most vehicles can do it, and where you couldn't do it, there was a bypass where most of the time you could get past it. So yeah, I don't think it was. What do you think, Alex?
I'm right there with you. I'd put it at about a 3. It maybe a 2.5. There's only really one spot that's marked that is actually challenge. It's not even that it's challenging, but it's the only spot that actually gives you any type of challenge at all. The rest of it is it's like driving a forest road.
Yeah, we agree. I think on all that. I think we're all in agreement that it doesn't deserve to be a blue trail.
Yeah, definitely not.
It should be a green trail, but a higher green.
Yeah.
I think a 3 or 4 if it's green, just to get it towards the top part of green into a blue, maybe. But it was pretty easy. And don't get me wrong, it's definitely worth going and knocking off your list. Just based off of the trees right now, especially, it was just gorgeous.
I would say like late winter, early spring, it might be a very gnarly area to go to.
That's true.
For how late it is, I don't think it was.
Yeah, I mean, let's preface this by saying that we hit this trail in dusty, dry conditions with probably the most traction you'd be able to have. So, if it did rain for a couple days or you had snow, ice, anything like that, blue trail definitely. I would say. I think the amount of off camber situations you could definitely get some sliding. and I think at that point, yeah, you'd be in a little bit more of a pickle, and maybe we should go back to it at some point in the spring.
I don't know if
And
we get to that one in the winter. That would be fun snow wheeling.
that one would be fun snow wheeling. I don't know that I know. There's some parts where I'm a little like, dude, if I had snow, mud, and water onto that, there's a couple parts where I'm like, I don't know if I got the tires for that. So
I'll say though, it was really fun watching you this weekend because at the start of the weekend, any off camber made you uncomfortable. But
yeah,
that last day, you were like going out and hitting stuff around camp that you were scared of the first night, you know?
yeah. The biggest thing, especially for newer overlanders, off-roaders, and I'm one of those people for sure, is the experience. So it is important to push yourself. It's important to push your rig. It's important to know your limits and to find them. Um, there's a few times, and and sometimes it can be a bit much when you have your family in the car and everything, and you're thinking about how much money you have put into the rig. But at the same time, you have to think about this experience is what saves you from some types of catastrophic failures, and most of the time it's because of experience. So there were lines that I took when we first went down a couple of these trails, and I want to say the line that I took on, let me look real quick. Was it 75-15 with the drop? That real big drop coming from the. Remember that one that I hit real bad?
Yeah.
So we took 75-15 when we were scouting for campsites on Thursday, and Alex had no issues, of course, because of his rig and his experience. And with my experience and my line that I picked, I hit my not my rocker panels, but my side step and my rear bumper pretty hard. It was a big solid thump. So I was a little bit nervous about that, and I will say that we went back to that the second day when we were taking Mark through that same area, just showing him the cool stuff that we found while looking for campsites, and with a little bit of help from Alex helping me kind of see a little bit more of a different line. I took a much better line that I took in 2-wheel drive, and it was no issue at all. So
I
the
think
big
that first time we went through there, I think I was quite a bit ahead of you because I hadn't been paying attention to how far behind me you had gotten. So you didn't even get to see the line I took that first
no,
time.
I took it pretty blind, so that was part of it. But I think it's really important for newer overlanders, and especially like people that aren't in fully built ones or just starting to build like an SUV out, or a crossover or something like that. Your biggest asset isn't necessarily the equipment that you put on your vehicle, but the experience on what lines you're taking.
Yeah. A good line's always the way to go. I mean, you can get through almost anything in Michigan in a Prius if you know how to drive.
Yeah. I will say Alex can contest because I have improved over the last year of wheeling, and he can contest for that for a lot.
I can say that you, just from when I've known you, you hit things hard, but you get through it all. I've seen you hit some stuff that I'm like, dude, just slow down. And I'm like, how does that feel for him? Because I know what you're running. You're running the same shit I am. And I'm like, how?
It doesn't feel great.
But no, yeah, like I do give my new truck a lot of credit compared to the old one because the old one did not have anything aftermarket for lift or anything. So I can tell there's a difference in the performance because of that. But I still think overall my experience on trail has shown in the last year now from what it was and what it is now.
100%, I agree with that.
Mine's grown exponentially in the last summer. This summer, I've really been getting down into the things that we did this weekend. I would not have done at the beginning of the summer. And if I did, I've been really scared. I know that I skipped hill climbs at the beginning of the summer. I was not touching any type of hill climb.
When you hit that one sandhill climb, you went up it and then you're just like, oh, I'm gonna go do it again. It was really fun watching you play with that stuff.
Yeah, honestly, I really misjudged that first one. That was really easy. When I got up there, I was like, "Oh, this is easy. I've done way harder than this." Just in the couple of weeks ago in the desert, um, I did some hill climbs that made that one like look like nothing. So I was like, "Oh, dude, this one's easy." And then I was like, "Well, I'll just go up this other one too." And the other one was easy until a point, and then you kind of hit you get up towards the top of it, and there's like a little lump, and I hit that lump and started slowing down a little bit, and then it started pushing me into the bank, and there was just a tree that popped out a little bit, and it popped my mirror out. And I'm like, whatever. Finished the hill climb, got up it just fine, and then went down the hill and grabbed my mirror, came back down, and I was good. But I wouldn't have done that months ago, not at all. So I know that my experience is better, and I know by the time I got done with, I think it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I was feeling pretty good. Sunday, I was like, okay, this is a walk in the park. And then we, after Sunday, my son woke up. He pretty much slept the whole trail day.
All day.
Yeah, which was good and bad because he really likes being on the trails too. He's 11, almost 12 months, and he does enjoy like looking the trails. So we got to the end, we got back to the camp, and he woke up right as we were pulling into camp, and he got out of his seat and he's like, huh? And I'm like, oh, you want to go on trails? Huh? I'm like, all right, well. So I turned around and we there was a little hill that I was not going to try to attempt Thursday that looked pretty rough to me. And by Sunday, I was like, yeah, I could do it. And walked right up it, went up it, turned around. I'm like, cool, I did it. I said I did it. I got done. I'm leaving it. Went up some bushwhack trails, and which are pretty fun. I wish we would have been able to do them if we had the time, but then I came back and that was it, man. That was but yeah, just that weekend, my experience skyrocketed.
Yeah. How many before this weekend, how many like 4 or 5 day trips have you done?
Oh gosh, probably I'd say a good couple handfuls. Yeah, I've done and as me and Alex have talked before, our style trips are a little different.
Yeah, very nice.
So he just to reiterate for anyone who's a little bit newer, he likes to set up more of like a base camp and wheel the area so that he's lighter and that doesn't have to worry about all the junk in his trunk, as they say. I I like to have all my stuff with me, and I do more of an expedition type overland where I hit a point, I camp it, and then I travel to the next point, camp that, and yeah, I'll look at the trails and stuff around me, but I may have a basic plan to get to a certain area and then turn around. So like, for example, this weekend, we decided we were going to sit around the Yuma Trail area. So we set up a base camp around the Yuma Trail area, did all of the blue trails in this area. And the difference between what he would have done versus me is the only difference would have been I would have set up towards the lower end of the blue trail one night, moved up, done all of the trails in between, set up the second night, third night, fourth night, and so on to get all the way up and past Yuma and then come back down. But that's a whole different, that's more driving intense. I mean, you're driving all freaking day. You're setting up at like 8. You're using more gas. Everyone's a little bit more stressed out. So it's not quite as laid back. And I was really glad to do like a base camp style for one of the last trips because they are a little bit more laid back. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we last year we did like 15 or 1600 miles for our our yearly trip.
Yeah.
And it was fun. It was fun being in a different spot every night. But once we got down into like Illinois, man, campsites are not, you can't just camp like we can up here. You
Yeah.
have to go and actually pay for a campsite, and it got exhausting pretty freaking quick.
Yeah, I will say that for anybody looking to start this, having a good plan, having a good knowing where you're heading, knowing where you're, especially if you're going to disperse camp, knowing where those areas are is pretty crucial. I know in Michigan, it's not all that hard to find dispersed camping. We have a lot of state forests and stuff around. You want to travel about an hour, you can get into a whole national forest or something like that, and you can find a spot.
Say for us, you don't even have to go an hour. You go 10 minutes in one direction, you're going to head in national forest.
Which is weird because, Michigan doesn't have bad wheeling, but we have a lot of national forests, a lot of dispersed camping spots. So that's kind of what makes Michigan unique is we may not have hard wheeling, but we have some challenges. We have some beautiful trails, and we have a lot of them. I mean, just spread out everywhere. Hidden gems waiting to be found. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I think Yuma wasn't bad. I think we missed out on tree jumping.
Yep.
But that's okay.
It's one I really wanted to do, but it didn't have anything challenging. It looked like a fun trail.
Yeah, I mean, and we did our own tree jumping too. We went off trail, found some bushwhacked trails, and we had some good 12-inch logs that we were jumping over. So, I mean, we did our own tree jump. We did our own cool thing like that. It went really well. I think the kids enjoyed it. The dog enjoyed it. I think we all had fun. Good food, good people.
Lots of good food.
Yeah.
Yes,
tacos.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, those street tacos are pretty good, man.
Thanks. It was very improvised. Like, well, hopefully it lives up to the name, but I was kind of like, might work.
Yeah, you picked a dangerous one, having Hispanics on the roster for the night. Sienna actually really liked them. She talked about it after we got in the tent. She's like, I'm not gonna lie, I wish there was more. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I should have bought another bag of chicken.
Oh, that's all right. No, I think my first night I didn't cook as much, and then I overcompensated the rest. So what was it? Yeah, what was it? First night we did the hot dogs, and then we had eggs, pancakes, spam. The first morning there wasn't really enough, and then after that it was like I did eggs and chorizo. I used the leftover stuff from Alex's hobo pie. He had some potatoes and onions left, and I had a couple logs of chorizo left. So I used the rest of our eggs and chorizo to make some of that.
That breakfast that last night, that was really good.
Yeah. Oh, did I make breakfast the morning of?
Yeah, that's what you made the last morning was with the leftover hobo packet stuff. Yeah,
the steak and everything. I had a taco packet, one of the fancier taco packets that you can get at Meijer, and it was actually pretty good. I fried the potatoes first, fried the onions and mushrooms second, and had the meat all in there. And then we added it all into a pot and had some little breakfast tacos, and they're pretty good.
All right, I guess we should get off food because we're gonna make these listeners really want to eat some breakfast.
Oh yeah, dude, I was hungry. So, all right, here's a good one. What was something that you wish you had on this trip that you didn't? And what was something that you realized while we were here that you were using or that you had that you were like, fuck, this is such a good idea? So let's start off with Alex. Something you wish you had the whole camp trip and didn't have. Something that you had and it was like, thank God.
Yeah, I can't think of anything. I mean, I brought the house and the kitchen sink. That was the joke the whole weekend.
Yeah, right.
I really can't think of anything that I didn't have. I mean, a heater would have been nice, but we did fine without it. Yeah, I really can't think of anything that comes right to mind.
Like anything bathroom related.
Okay, so because you had a toilet, obviously I didn't need a toilet.
No, everybody knows you don't share toilet seats. Thankfully, we had that situation under control. But that was honestly like if I didn't have that would have sucked.
No, I 100% agree. If I didn't have your toilet to use, I definitely would have hated my life.
I think everybody, Mark and Alan were the only ones I didn't see go in there. But I'm like, they must have like a poop or something in their tent because there's no way. I don't know how you guys were doing it.
I usually go through camp weekend barely using a toilet.
That's crazy.
They go to the gas station.
Well, I know. Yeah, we did that. I think so. For me, like something that I didn't have that I wish that I did was probably more pillows and blankets. Just for comfort, not even warmth, but for comfort. We were on kind of a slope, but it would have been nice to throw a blanket down to have the kid run around on the blanket. But I was really, really, really glad that we ended up getting a heater. What was it? Friday morning?
Yeah, like the first night you got a heater.
Yeah, we used Alex's little buddy heater, and that was great. But as it was starting to get colder, he almost needed it for his dog more than anything.
That's something. I wish that I had brought Mercy's coat because she was freezing.
Yeah. Or like even like a heated blanket for Mercy. They make those heated dog pads. That would have been great. Yeah. Like a battery powered heating blanket. They have charging blocks.
Yep. She needs to just quit getting old on me so she can handle the cold still.
Yeah, she's an Arizona dog, so Arizona dogs are starting used to it. But I mean, yeah, Arizona. Mercy was really, really chilly the last couple days. It got really cold. Started to chill your bones a little bit when you were outside. And then it started raining that last day. And I was so glad I had that heater. I will say that I'm definitely going to diesel next year.
Yeah.
I went through I measured it. I went through 2 cans a night of 1 pounders. So I was going through 2 pounders a night, which is roughly it was what? Okay, 20 it was
that'd be $20 a night.
Yeah, $20 a night, which is not ideal. No. By the time I got to the last night, and I was using for the camp stove, what we were all kind of using that same stove. By the time we got done with all that, I would say we probably went through 10 cans. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, maybe 12 between Alex using his cans the next couple of nights too. So that's a good, what, 120, 180 bucks. I say 180 just because of, all the extra. We had some half cans. We had some extra ones that went out too.
That day that we bought some, we should have just got together and got like a 20-pounder.
Yeah, Derek highly suggests doing a 20-pound tank for us instead of just the little Coleman tanks.
I knew it wasn't going to last much longer than this weekend. My only issue with that is like needing to spread out the 20-pounder in my tent and then something for your tent too. So like that was the only issue I had for that, keeping them warm. But
we really weren't using it in our tent. Most of what we used was on the stove.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I for a 20-pound tank, that would have been nice. I think a 10-pound tank is perfect. Like 10 or 11 pound, I think is what they make. They make those 10, 11 pounders that you can strap to. I think that would have been great for those 4 days.
Yeah.
2 pounds a night, having a little extra for the stove. And if you guys look at the cost breakdown of that, it's like $2 a gallon to fill your propane up on those at like a Tractor Supply or a gas station. They fill up your existing tank, whereas you're looking at $10 a bottle almost, right? Was it $10 a bottle or $10 for a 2-pack? I think it was $10 a bottle. Yeah, $10 for a 2-pack that you were going through per night. So at that point, you might as well just get a state park. Go sit at a state park because you're already paying $20 a night just to, you know what I mean, just to heat your stuff. So might as well just get full electric. I hate to say it like that, but that's kind of how I saw it as I was going, through that last couple days. And I'm like, dude, we're going through. I think that last morning I went through 3 tanks.
It was cold though.
Because it rained and we went to bed at like 6. We got into our tents and stuff after we ate dinner. So we went through a tank 6 to, every couple hours, 4 or 5 hours, we'd go through a tank. So by the time we woke up in the morning, we had already gone through 3 tanks. And also,
definitely diesel heaters in the future, because that'll save us a shit ton of money.
Not only that, but I have a infant, and I wasn't as worried for the O2. It was definitely a concern, O2 issues and buddy heaters. But my biggest issue was when he woke up and wanted to crawl over and grab it. Those things are hot, and it was a constant fight trying to keep him off of it. Now, granted, next year he'll be 1 or so, and he'll probably have a better understanding. But for some of these other people that are thinking about putting buddy heaters in there, you don't think about that at first. But if you're in the middle of sleeping and your kid starts crawling around the tent, they have safety switches and all that. That's cool. But if they touch that front metal grate, they're burning their hand for sure.
Yeah, it's already hot.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was one thing that I'm glad that I had, that I was like, whew, kind of saved our bacons this weekend. We, like I said earlier in the episode, we were all sick. Jasper, when he starts teething, he gets sick and he gets us all sick. So we were all kind of battling it out and having something to keep the air a little warmer so that we weren't freezing and breathing in cold air, because it doesn't help the sinuses. It was nice. So diesel heaters, I think we're all doing diesel heaters next year. And
yeah,
that might free us up to do some more winter camping next year. So I'm excited for that.
Getting away from the farm's kind of hard, but
yeah, but we could do a weekend, we could do a night,
Yeah.
Doing a night isn't so bad either. Doing like a Friday night into Saturday evening.
And you need like half the stuff for a night.
Exactly. I'll only have to bring like hot dogs.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know what I mean? So right. Yeah, as long as it's like a one nighter or something, I think would be fine. But just to get out there, I mean, I get such bad cabin fever that if I'm not wheeling this year during the winter, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
All right, Mark, what's something you wish you had brought?
Wouldn't like be a heater. At least take the edge off in the morning. Trying to crawl out of a nice warm sleeping bag was very annoying. Trying to convince myself to get up.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I know.
trying to get up and just go pee. Like I had to get up and go pee multiple times. And we joked multiple times about having a heater in the little bathroom area, because it was like, dude, you're like teeth chattering out there, pants around your legs, and you're like, damn, it's cold.
What are you talking about, jokes? I brought my little buddy with me every time I went at nighttime.
I thought about it. My wife would probably kill me. It was such a big difference in the tent that as soon as I opened the door, you could feel a good 10-degree difference come in. It was those after I bought that buddy heater from Tractor, I could sleep in my not even a t-shirt, like just bare.
Jesus.
And without and no blanket. Let me say that, like no comforter or nothing. And right. I was comfortable. So let me preface that. Like, yes, you could sleep in your sleeping bag like Alex does, buck naked, and be fine. But I was sleeping out of my sleeping bag, buck naked, and was fine. So that was such a big improvement on our sleeping.
And if anyone doesn't know, sleeping buck naked when you're camping is the way to go.
Yep, until you start hearing stuff in the woods. And you just look like a weirdo popping out of your tent buck naked. But no, we didn't have any weird things happen, really. We had the owls were like the creepiest.
The weasel.
The weasel, you're right, Mark. We had these weasels that were like the size of chipmunks, but they were little weasels. And I'm sitting there, I'm sleeping with my hand outside of the sleeping bag on the floor. And all of a sudden I feel something from underneath the tent poking up and hitting my hand. And I'm like, what the fuck? What is that? And dude, I literally played Pop the Weasel. Like I'm sitting there like, fuck you, like get out of here. Oh, I went and like trying to smack him with a propane tank, like trying to get him out of there. You could hear them, and it's funny enough. My son stepped on them on accident the next day, and you could hear them. You could hear them like. I go, what the heck? I've never seen these things before in my life, and now they're all over this field that we were sleeping in.
Yeah.
Watching Wrangler try and catch one from underneath the tent.
Yeah.
And he's just paw over paw running across their like 15-foot wide tent.
Yeah. No, that was funny. That was a really good one. I would say also for you, Alex, maybe sand stakes.
Yeah. I definitely needed to bring sand stakes because that last night.
Yeah, that's another one.
That one corner popped up and just flooded it was like a river running underneath.
Oh.
Thank God that I sleep on a cot, dude.
Yeah, the only water issue that we had was the condensation, which is known for anyone that runs buddies or any kind of propane heaters in the tent. The condensation, we'd get like a drip down on us every once in a while. And then oddly enough, like running those heaters all night, the propane tanks collect a lot of frost.
Mm-hmm.
And then that frost would melt and you'd get like a small little bit of water. But that was really the only water issues we had in that tent, which is good. I mean, that tent, the way that that's laid out is pretty well waterproofed. Not really any way for water to get in there.
The rain fly is bigger than the tent.
Yeah, it's like a turtle shell.
Yeah.
It's a great harsh weather tent. It's not a great lounging tent, if that makes sense. Like if you have a nice summer day or something like that and you want to be able to look up at the stars and all that, not as great there with your rain fly on, but
right.
Other than that, dude, it kept us warm, kept us dry. Your guys' tents did well.
Yeah.
You guys were running the same tents other than that one part collapsing and then needing sand stakes, which is just a terrain issue, not necessarily the tent.
Right.
Yeah. They did well, right?
By it. For $100, that's probably the best tent you can buy.
Mm-hmm.
It's big. Yeah. It's roomy. You can fit 3 queen size air mattresses in there.
It's definitely a good base camp tent, I would say. And the setup's not horrible with it, so I can't say that it's not a good expedition style tent. I'm using expedition lightly just to help classify what Alex does versus what I do. Base camp versus expedition is kind of what I've been using, but I would say that it's not the worst even for beginner expeditions. I mean, it's a really big tent. If you want a really good budget Coleman tent when you're first starting out, I don't think that's the bad one. There are much worse choices that you could make. That's for sure. So, well, so what we had some, we didn't really have any trail failures. And I say that, well, the CV actually, I wouldn't even call trail because we got home.
Yeah.
So I think honestly, this weekend we did really well. We had really good fire. Mark has a pickup truck, so he brought the fire ring and everything. Yeah, so that was really nice. We listened to some good music and around the fire. I carved out a little I don't even know, mascot for Botches. I decided that, after me and Alex were messing with our chainsaws, that I was gonna carve something up. I got it in my head that I wanted to carve some toys or something. So I made a plan in my own head of what I was going to try to make a bear. And then it started to look more like an owl. Then it started to look like the weird
alien from Toy Story.
Yeah. The weird alien from Toy Story, or that totem from Brother Bear, I hear. So to me, it's just a bear owl. And honestly, I was really happy. I got it pretty well carved out.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Alex will add it as cover art here so that he can show what it looks like into this point. But
I might make that probably not the episode cover, but definitely a chapter cover.
Yeah. I got it carved out, and honestly, my son loved it. He was playing with it all night. I had pictures of him. He was teething, so he was gnawing on it too, and it was kind of special for me. So it hits you a little different when it's something handmade that you spent time on and he really liked it. I started making a pickup truck too, and he played with that and the doll, or whatever you call it, all that night, and then the next morning, and still plays with him at home. So he was walking around with the unfinished truck that I haven't even finished either. He was moving around. Yeah, no, I haven't finished it out yet. I just started digging the box out that night when it started raining a little bit. So yeah, no, I mean it all went well. The kid loved it. He had a freaking blast. Sienna really liked it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just it was a good trip. It was a good year trip. I don't know. We'll have to start planning on what we want to do next year. I think I haven't talked to you guys much about what we want to do next year, but
I mean, now's not a bad time to do it right on the pod.
No.
I'm thinking, like, I don't know about you guys as far as how you guys like going, how far you want to go out, but I've noticed that we do all west, and I want to check some east off.
Well, I am kind of thinking about possibly doing Badlands. I think that Badlands would be a very good trip for us. Kind of overland down to the Badlands Park and then spend a day or two in Badlands.
Yeah. I know we talked about Badlands before.
Yeah, I'm with you a little bit on that. It's not my type, but I could definitely get around it a little bit.
I always say
my-
that parks aren't really my thing until I started playing in parks. As long as it's a big enough park that I'm not seeing the same over and over again, I'm good.
Yeah. The way that we do it, we go for the scenery and the endpoints. So we're trying to get to different towns, different locales, beaches, different points. Going to museums, historical areas. So that's kind of what I like doing, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think my original request was maybe going east to do the St. Helen ORV route. They have a big blue trail there, and then they have a bunch of big blue trails up there. North Meridian Road, Heath, and then they have I don't know how long this one is. It looks like 17 miles, so it's bigger than Yuma. 17-mile the St. Helen ORV route, which is just east of us.
Man,
so it really wouldn't be a far drive.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to St. Helen.
I think for me, Badlands isn't like super high on my list. I understand the allure to it, but just I would almost want to do St. Helens, Heath, this blue stuff here, and then just explore, because I've never been this far east for off-roading. It's always been very like Tawas, all coastal. But I know at some point we want to go. There's a northeast. There's a rod and gun tower loop. It's a blue trail. That's only like 6 miles though, but there's a crap ton of trails around it, and that's kind of the
20. So we could do St. Helens for 2025. 2026, we want to either do Telluride or Moab.
Yeah. Where's Telluride?
Colorado.
Oh, geez. Is that a park or an area?
It's a city.
Because I would be probably more down for Telluride than I would be Moab.
It's
but that's
still
just my. Oh, never mind then. So maybe it'll be just equal. I think I'd still like to check Colorado off.
You haven't even been to the desert, man. I know you like the trees, but
I have a list. I have a list of priorities, and the desert's just not on them. Yeah, that's the easiest way for me to put it. I have Moab and these other places, Sienna and I don't prefer the desert type of landscape. We like dark greens and lush forests and rainforests and stuff like what's in Canada.
So
And
Flagstaff.
so I don't know. I don't know
That's
what Flagstaff
Arizona.
is. Oh, maybe. But would you be willing to go and do stuff like that over Moab? No. So that's like
I don't know. Flagstaff would be really fun. I haven't been there in
so that's
2016 was the last time.
yeah. So that's where I'm like, if you go to Arizona, typically you're going for Moab, right? Like
Moab's Utah, but
oh, I'm sorry, you're right. You're right. What the heck am I thinking of then down there?
I mean,
It-
to be fair, Moab and Flagstaff aren't crazy far apart. I mean,
I'm saying I think
is
I heard of something else in Arizona. I'm trying to remember.
Moab is closer to Flagstaff than Michigan is to Flagstaff. So
Right. Yeah, we'll see. That's still pretty far away, and I think we're all the type that we don't usually know till pretty quick, toward closer to the end.
Yep.
Just with work and everything right now. But I know that if I can get there, I really want to go to, do Drummond at some point because I want to check that off my list. I would like to do. There's a blue trail just into Canada.
the Highline Highway.
Yeah, I want to do Highline Highway.
That's on my list too.
And then my biggest check off for next year for just us in general, Sienna and I and the kid, is going to be Copper Harbor, all the trails up to Copper Harbor. There's a really long one that goes all the way from the tip of Copper Harbor where there's some nice blue trails up there.
Bill
And then
Nichols.
and then the 7-hour plane crash trail. We want to take that.
That's pretty much shut down now. They shut down
I heard
the
they
front
shut down parts of it.
They shut down the front and the end of it. I don't even think it's on Onyx anymore, is it?
Yeah,
oh,
it's
no,
still
they
there.
just shut it
Yeah,
down.
I kind of heard mixed things about that.
Yeah, they shut down some areas, but there's a bypass around some of the others. So I'd like to do that. And then we wanted to do it this year for fall colors. We're just not going to get around to it. The Porcupine Mountains and the Lake of the Clouds is high on our watch list for next year. We really want to do it. We've been waiting. We were going to do it this year. With this, we were probably going to do it around this area with fall colors, and then we did this trip with botches, and then I have a cryptid trip that I had planning out coming up, and so we just didn't have the time to save for that kind of thing. So yeah, that's going to be a big one. I'd really like to do Copper. I'd really like to do the 7-hour plane crash. I could do that in a day.
7-hour plane crash. I would plan a couple days for that.
Yes.
Well,
and make sure you start from Wisconsin and not drive up to the Kiowa Peninsula and drive all the way back like we did.
I'd say it took us. I mean, we did that trip in about 3 days on that trail.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
And that was driving pretty much all day, every day.
Oh, I'm only talking about from that to, like, my plan was to do 7-hour down to the Porcupine Mountains. So just that trail, that part of the trail right there.
So if you're starting,
so
if you're starting at the top of that one, I wouldn't even mess with 7-hour. I'd just follow Bill Nichols.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm. Yeah, I could see that it's down towards the end here. It's called Bill Nichols, but that same trail that says Bill Nichols is saying that it's the 7-hour plane crash too. So that's the only reason why I said that.
No, they're not the same. Bill Nichols Trail starts at Houghton, and then comes around and becomes the Mill Mine, whereas the 7-hour plane crash starts at Houghton and then just goes south to South Range.
Well, what's the one that goes all the way? What's the one that starts up at the bay, at High Rock Bay? That's 7 hour, right? Yeah,
That one starts a 7 hour. Yes, you'd follow that down, but then I
that's what
take
I
Bill
want to
Nichols.
start at.
I
Yeah,
take Bill Nichols when you get to the bottom.
yeah. But we want to do. I want to spend a couple days up there in Copper Harbor. Sienna's never been up there. She's never been to Keweenaw. That might just be a trip on its own, just a 4-day trip in the Keweenaw area.
Yeah,
There's so
because
many trails.
if I could move to Keweenaw, I would. I absolutely love it up there.
Sienna and I, we're working on our plan. Our plan is to move to Marquette, and then just that area, the basic area of Marquette. We really, really loved that area. It was beautiful. We're good on the snow. We're fine with that. And then explore the whole area around here till we're okay, till we're good. And then eventually we're gonna keep moving west. So don't know what that looks like yet, but that's our plan for the future. That it just I like that idea of not having, for me, I wanted to van camp a lot of this. I don't want to have a house base camp that I'm buying, So, but I'm also have to think like semi long term. Um, is renting going to be better than buying a house? I don't want to be stuck for 5 to 10 years in one area per se.
I mean, if you have a good enough job, you just buy a house everywhere you stop and then rent it.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, yeah, that's what we'd all want, right? I mean, hopefully our podcast gets off and we start your YouTube and, we don't
Yes,
have to worry about this anymore.
please
But
boost in. Not only would we
yeah,
love to read your messages, but we would love to quit our jobs.
exactly. I don't want to work my day job anymore. This is what I want my day job to be. But we have pretty entry level jobs to where you can find them just about anywhere.
Mhm.
So,
Speak
she
for
works at
yourself, man.
AutoZone. Yeah, you can work as a farmhand.
That would be a big pay cut.
Something. There's always ups and downs, especially like in your position too. Ups and downs. But so we're thinking maybe we rent for a couple years. Like rent a house for a couple of years and then we move west and rent a house for a couple of years and move west. And I think other than the only thing that I'm worried about is my son in school. Um, and that talk will come up with him eventually when when he's able to make these decisions and talk to us about it.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing I'm really worried about there. Renting a house is if you can get to it and do a long term or do a lease, I think that's going to be our best way to do it. We have a house, it's not an apartment, so we're not locked down by apartment rules and stuff. We have a whole house to ourselves for a kid. So doing that for a couple of years and then moving out to, renting a U-Haul with a trailer and moving out to North Dakota or Montana is probably our next stop is Montana. Doing Montana for a few years, maybe moving a little bit more west because Montana is so freaking big. And then, yeah, just keep going, just Colorado to Oregon to Washington, Wyoming, everything. I mean, we want to hit it all. We want to, we want to travel and see it all. So that's kind of the plan for now. Hopefully, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, we could be in Michigan the whole rest of our lives after this, and take 4-day trips or 5-day trips up there. Who knows?
To be fair, that wouldn't be the worst thing, man. Michigan is a beautiful place.
It's a beautiful place, but it just doesn't have.
I have lived
the mountains.
I've lived all over the United States, and there's a reason that I came back home.
Because your family's here.
No, I mean yes.
Yeah,
my family
yeah.
But then I went
like, shit.
I lived an hour and a half away from my family.
Yeah, I mean, I like Michigan too, dude. I think it's gorgeous. I like the fact that we're not getting hurricanes constantly. There's
the people
very
don't suck.
the people don't suck in all of the places. There's not a lot of animals that come out to kill you. So like Michigan's a super safe place to live as far as like environmental, animals, the weather, really, really good place to live. It's just, it doesn't have the mountain ranges. It doesn't have, dark green rainforests. It doesn't have things that we haven't seen yet. Like, we don't have massive 30-foot giant sequoias, and as much as some people say that living in Washington and Oregon right now is like the worst thing ever.
I mean, they're better than California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like nothing more to have a small cabin in the middle of the redwoods.
To be fair,
surrounded by giant sequoias on a river. That's like
90% of Oregon would be awesome to live in. Just stay away from Portland.
Yeah. I mean, that's the plan. I would like to live in Oregon or Washington, and the trails around there. Oh my God.
I've got a buddy from Pineville, Oregon, and that area is absolutely beautiful, dude. Like, it unmatched.
Yeah, and that's the thing though, is like, to me, the videos that I've seen of course these are edited, blah blah blah, I get it, but the videos that I've seen, and I've watched hours and hundreds of hours and thousands of hours of videos, Oregon is like, that's like my top place. Oregon, Washington, the rainforest, the giant sequoias, it's just where I want to be, man. There's something about these rainforest areas that, dude, I just love rain. I love rain. So
before I lived in the desert, Oregon was like my dream place to live for the same reason. But after you actually spend some time in the desert, man, it is, because it's brown all the time, and then it just dumps rain for like a month, and it is so much greener than anywhere else. It is so beautiful. This is editor Alex now. I just want to say there's a very long pause here that I edited out, and that's how you know that Gavin accidentally muted himself. And Gavin muted himself.
Yep.
Oh yeah, maybe I didn't unmute. Sorry. I had to cough, but I was gonna say that's just Stockholm syndrome, man. I was like, like you're just used to everything being brown, and then it just dumps rain. You're like, wow, everything's so green. Dude, that's just because you're used to seeing brown all the time.
It's a whole different kind of green when it's green, though. Like, it is so beautiful.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely not opposed to it. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm hating on the Southwest down there or nothing. Of course it has a place. Of course I would love to see it. I just, when Sienna and I are talking about our end goals and where we want to be, and what we want to see, those are highest on our priority list. And then as a family unit, that's of course what we're going to try to prioritize. So where Moab, might not be the highest on our priority list right now, it's on there. And of course, if we get a chance to go there relatively cheap, and maybe we do that.
Paid for by viewers.
Yeah, paid by viewers. We've been tossing around renting a car and just taking an airplane too. I mean, if you look at the total cost of overlanding some of this stuff and the vehicle wear and tear of going across the country, because we are going just about across the country for this, I mean, it's almost cheaper to rent a plane and then rent a Jeep or something when you're there. I don't know. It's just something that we're tossing around because we want to see the sites. We want to see the national parks and stuff. We're not looking to do like massive overlanding there, but we still want to check it off our list sooner rather than later. So it's just something that we're kind of tossing around too. Maybe doing that as well.
I definitely would want my 4Runner just because I'd like to be able to get pictures of my 4Runner in those places.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, like, I mean, me, I love the pictures just as much, but when we start looking at the cost breakdown and we're like, and when I'm looking at it, I'm like, dude, I'd love to go here in the next year or two. And you're looking at how much it's going to cost for everything. Oh man, you're like, there's no freaking way.
But then if you think about it, like just right now, just spitballing, I'll look up flights from. We'll do Detroit because it's always cheaper to fly out of Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
We'll say Portland just to come on Expedia, load faster. I mean, you're looking at $400 a person to fly.
Yeah, I'm looking at 2,200 miles, and let's break down 2,200 miles, and we're gonna divide that. There's 2,200 miles divided by 200 because I get about 200 miles a tank.
Okay.
So that's 11 tanks.
I'll
So
do
11.
actual mileage. So it's
Oh, I'm looking at it by mileage.
It's not even back.
With my extra weight and everything I have on there, plus stopping or taking whatever detours, I'm just assuming 200 a tank. And that's pretty typical of what people are getting. So 11 tanks times what are gas prices right now? And plus in Oregon, what's the average US gas price?
I just put $5 to average it. At 15 miles per gallon, you're looking at about $733.
So I'm looking at about the same price to take a flight over there.
Yep.
And that's just on gas. That's not food. That's
Right.
not any kind of lodging. That's not snacks.
That's one way.
Yeah, that's one way. That's road snacks, by the way. You know, that's it's you're looking at that and I'm like, it's gonna be cheaper for sure to get a flight.
Yep.
Is it gonna be the same experience? Absolutely not. Is it gonna be something that I want to do later with the vehicle once I have saved up more money? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not saying that it replaces overlanding. Obviously, that's why we're all into this hobby or whatever you want to call it in the first place. But if we're really trying to knock some of these out earlier rather than later, you know, as a 2 to 3 year plan instead of a 5 to 10 year, that might be a quick and dirty way to get in there, see it, experience some of it, get an idea for what I want to do, where I want to go, and then come back with a real plan after. And then actually like planned a trip around what I saw, what I wanted to do, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like a scouting trip, if you will. So that's something that we've been tossing around too, because I don't see myself going to Washington in the next 2 to 4 years. Just, I mean anywhere that west. It's a lot of money to save for someone who's, we're making average for the typical person around here.
And so nothing.
Yeah. And we're coming off every week with not a whole lot saved. Obviously, we paid on our debts, and at the end of the day, we're all average budgeting overlanders here in this part of Michigan, and so we don't make crazy money, and the money that we do make is going into our rigs to make it easier for us to do these things. So,
or just keep them on the road.
Yeah, just keeping them on the road is a struggle. I mean, especially when you're daily driving them, that's one thing. But so I don't know, like looking at that price right there, adding a way back, and then knowing that you're going to go through multiple extra tanks driving around just to see these places. Add
you're looking
5 to 10 extra tanks.
I mean, you're looking at easily 3,000 to 3,500 that trip driving.
Yeah. Is that one way?
No, that's all together.
Yeah. Because I can tell you right now,
out of your truck.
Yeah, I can tell you right now that when Sienna and I did our expeditionary 1,200 mile trip in the UP, we went through a good $1,200 to $1,500. And I think all things considered, we did well. But most of that was gas, man. I mean, 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah.
We had 2 rigs when we did ours, and I think with trail side repairs, lower ball joint.
Yeah.
I think that we came out to what, like 24 or 2,500.
Yeah.
Sounds
like that.
about right.
A lot of it
Sounds about
was
right.
us splurging when we probably didn't need to. But what's the point? You're
Yeah.
doing there. You're there to have the fun, man. We went up there and we went and bought some stuff, some clothes for Jaspers from some of these small town shops. We bought some stickers. We bought some knickknacks for Jasper. Things to remember him by. We stopped at waterfalls, got special ice cream. That was our first time he's ever tried ice cream. So, I mean, it's not like it's not going towards anything, but it's not cheap either. And
Right.
No.
so
And,
these bigger trips are definitely longer in the future for me.
On that money talk, we would love if you guys would boost in and just give us a little note. Tell us that we're god awful at this. Maybe give us some money so that we can maybe quit quit doing it. You know, who knows?
Yeah. Put a note in and say how bad Gavin's ADHD has gotten. Yeah. Like how many times I've went off topic lately. Just put in a note. Just let me know. Don't worry, I'm getting meds. I'll be fixed soon. But like, yeah, just help in any way you can. And it doesn't have to be sending money. It doesn't, just viewing helps, sharing helps, talking about it.
The whole value for value thing, it's not just money. It's time, treasure, and talent. If you got some talent that you want to give us, shoot us some artwork for our covers. You got some time and you want to come on and tell us how much of idiots we are? Fuck, come on, let us know.
Yep. Send us messages. Say, hey, it'd be really cool if we talked about this. It'd be really cool if we talked about that. I've gotten a couple already. Talking about an off-road Prius we have coming up. We have our upcoming episodes. We have some talking about North Carolina, some of the relief that our one of the groups we're affiliated with did. It's just some really cool stuff we have coming up. We have a really exciting interview that we're working on right now that we're going to be dropping soon. With a very, very well-known podcaster and overlander. So we really want you guys to keep in tune. We're trying to keep things fresh. We're trying to keep things, like I said, all things overlanding, from tent camping to rock landing. So
talking about how broke we are.
Yep, talking about how broke we are. So we really appreciate you guys really sticking with us and helping us through this. We're still working out the kinks, still getting everything settled. We'll be set pretty soon here, though. We got things rolling around. We're getting better every time.
Yeah.
There's not really a whole lot left for us to do but climb, really. So, we appreciate your time. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for listening to our little our post trail updates. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, exactly. Like, all things overland leaves a really, really big opening for us to get off topic.
Sure.
Yes,
we did get through all our trails. We did get through all our stuff, and overall, Yuma was fun. We can all agree it's not meant to be a blue trail for dusty summers, but yeah, we could definitely see it being a blue trail for the winters and spring. Anytime it's soggy out. It was a lot of fun. We'll see you guys next time.
Later.